Hi, this is Gary. Welcome to today's video. So, start of April, brand new month, and that means a brand new set of pens for me to use throughout this month. Now, what I've started doing last month is I'm going to give each of these monthly set of pens a theme. Last month, all the pens were from China. This month, the pens, they're from everywhere but China. I've got pens from India, I've got a pen from Italy, I've got a pen from the UK, a couple of pens from Japan. I'll let you know where each one comes from as we look at it. So please join me down on the mat and let's take a look at these pens and the inks that I've chosen to start the month off with. Of course, as the month goes on, it's likely those ink will change as I run out of ink in each pen. So let's jump straight in. So here we are down on the mat. Let's jump straight in. So the first pen we're going to look at, well, this one's from Japan. This is a Pilot Custom Heritage 92. Now this pen, just take that lid off. It's got a medium nib, so it's a medium gold nib. Although this one is actually rhodium plated, but it is that 14 karat gold nib. The ink that we're going to use in this is by Robert Oster, and it's this gorgeous blue colour, Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue. This is a really nice bright blue. I've had this sat around in my sample jars for quite a while. I just never got round to using it, so I thought, well, this is a really good time to give this one a try. Just pop that to one side. Let's jump in. So pen number one for this month is that Pilot Custom Heritage 92, and that's a medium nib. The ink, as we said, Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue. Now, I know this only been in here a day or so, so I've not really played around too much with this, but I really like the colour of this. I like the ink. It's a nice bright blue. It's not that school blue, but it's got that nice vibrant colour. And the medium nib on this pen is so soft, it's really nice to write with. Let's test our dry times. So first, we go immediate. You know, you can see that's really nice and wet. Now I'm going to wait for 10 seconds. You know, that's drying quite nicely. 30 seconds. Yep, as you can see, there's still a little bit of wetness on there. Next, we're going to leave it for 1 minute. And after 1 minute, well, yeah, that's nice and dry. So, could I use this for note taking? Possibly. It dries in under a minute. I just wouldn't want to do lots of pages of notes with it. So this is the Pilot Custom Heritage 92 in a medium nib from Japan with Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue ink. My second pen is this one. So this is a Leonardo Momento Zero Grande in the dark Hawaii colour. Now, through the wonders of the internet, you won't have seen an unboxing for this. In fact, the unboxing video I'm going to be releasing next week. But I wanted to include this because, well, it's my newest pen. It's my most expensive pen. And to be honest, it's just a plain gorgeous pen. And I thought, well, yeah, I've got to get it in this month's rotation. The ink that I've put in this, it's a Diamine ink, and it's called Saragossa C. So it's a darkish blue, and I don't know if you can see on here, there's like a pinkish sheen to it. So it's quite an attractive colour. Now this pen, it's from Italy. So we've got a Japanese pen, now we've got Italian. It's also got a medium nib. This is a medium steel nib, whereas with that Pilot, that was a gold nib. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, as I say, it's my most expensive pen. I'm expecting great things from it, but let's see. Taking a look at the nib, just before I do our writing sample, it's a big nib. It's a big nib on a big pen. It's a gorgeous looking nib there. If we turn it over the feed, that's an ebonite feed on this. So what do we have? We've got a Leonardo, Momento 0, Grande. It's a long name. As I say, this is in a medium nib. It's a really nice writer. As I say, I've not played with it too much. I've not really had time to use it. But the bits I have, wow, this is so nice. The ink is Diamine, Saragossa. It looks really nice in this pen. On this paper, I'm not really seeing a lot of sheen coming through, but I don't see a lot of sheen on this paper, which is Oxford. It's the optic paper. I will try this on some Rhodia paper later in the month, but I'm really looking forward to see what I get from this pen because, as I say, it's my latest pen. I've literally had it 2 days, but I was so keen to get it in so I can really play with it during the month of April. Let's test our wetness. So immediately, you can see that nice blue colour coming through there. It looks a little bit purplish as well to my eyes. We'll wait for 10 seconds. Very similar, to be honest, to the Robert Oster in the way it's drying. 30 seconds. Well, that looks dry to me. I don't even see the point in doing it for a minute. So here we have the Leonardo Momento 0 Grande with that medium steel nib and Diamine Saragossa. And this one, if it dries like that when I'm using it, I think will be really nice for taking multiple page notes. Pen number 3. Well, we're going back to Japan for pen number 3. This is the only country where I've got 2 pens. Pen number 3 is by Platinum and it's the 3776 Bourgogne in a medium gold nib. So take a look at this nib. Now, one of the things I'm already noticing here, I've got some ink coming through onto the nib, so that's something I'm going to keep an eye on as I go through the month. This is another gold nib. You can see that there. Really nice. Now, there is a big difference in the nibs between this and the Pilot. Obviously, they're different manufacturers, but I find the writing experience very different between the two of them. One of the things with this pen, this 3776, I've tried a number of inks with it up till now and not really found they've been a really good combination. But in the little bit of testing I've been doing with this one, I'm really loving it. So let me just pop the cap back on and we'll take a look at the ink that I've picked. So the ink for this month is Lamy Beryl. Now when I do my writing in a minute, you'll notice how much nicer it is coming out of the nib. And as I say, this is the first time I've found an ink that I really like in this pen. So I may end up keeping this as a permanent match. But I don't know, I'll see how we go. It could be, because of the vibrance of this, I mean, it's a beautiful colour, that I need them more saturated, them more vibrant colours in this pen. So I may try that in future months. But for now, we've got Lamy Beryl. So I'll pop that to one side. Now this pen, because of its size, I find I need to use it posted. So what we've got here is a Platinum 3776 Bourgogne with a medium nib. Can you see what I'm saying already about the difference? This is a much finer line than we're seeing in the Pilot, even though they're both medium pens. You know, I would say the Leonardo's width of line is very similar, if not a little bit finer than the Pilot's. So this is something I want to explore as I go through to see if I can find any differences in the line width. So the ink we've got is Lamy. And it's, well, I'm going to put the full name. It's part of the Crystal series. And it's called Beryl. Now there's about 10 inks in this series. I've got a sample of them all and you'll see a couple more in this month's list. But really, as I say, I'm really liking this in this pen. It's the first one I can really say, yeah, this is nice. I like the look of this. Let's test our wetness. So we go for an immediate check. That's very dry already. I'll wait for 10 seconds. Wow, look at that, after 10 seconds. That's dry already. I mean, I'm not even going to try doing it for 30 seconds or for the minute. This then, if this is the way it dries, this is going to be awesome for taking notes. I mean, dry within 10 seconds. What more can you ask for? So here we have the Pilot 3776 Bourgogne with a medium nib and Lamy Beryl ink. So for pen number 4, I'm going back in time. So this pen, it's from the UK. It's a Parker Frontier. I bought this pen in 2003. It's one of the few things I brought to Australia with me when we moved here. So it's one of those pens, it's got that little bit of extra meaning to it. Most of my other pens, I've bought them within the last 12 months as I've really got back into fountain pens. This one, I say 2003, made in 2002. It's the oldest pen I own. If we take a look at the nib there, well, this is a medium. It's got the gold colour in, it's not a gold nib. You know, when I was younger, the pens that you bought were generally Parkers because when I was at school, most of the time we used a ballpoint, but we had one teacher who insisted that we use a fountain pen. And to be honest, that's really what got me into fountain pens initially. I then had a break of a few years. In the early 2000s, I bought this, so I tried again. So I've actually got 3 different Parkers from that 2000 to 2005 area. Again, I took a break and restarted about a year ago, but I've still got this Parker. So let's have a look at this. Pop the cap back on. What ink have we got? Well, where would a month be if I didn't have a green ink? So for this one, I'm using another one of that Lamy Crystal series. This is called Peridot. Really nice green. You know, it's got a little bit, I don't know if you can see it, we've got a little bit of shade in here and sheening. Looks really nice on here. I'd be interested to see how this one performs in this pen because, as I said, the pen's quite a bit older, but it's the first time I've used this, I want to say, in about 10 years. So let's see how we go with it. Just going to move the paper up a little bit. So here we go. We've got the Parker Frontier with a medium nib. Now, initially, I'm going to actually be honest, I think the width of the line looks more like I'm seeing from that 3776 rather than what I'm seeing from the other 2 pens. So this is going to be interesting as the month goes on to see how this goes. As I use it more, maybe the nib will soften up a little bit. But the ink, Lamy, Crystal, Peridot. Loving the way this looks at the moment. It's really nice. It's not a bright green. It's not an in-your-face green. It's got that muted colour to it. And I actually quite like the look of it. I say I need to see how it goes in the month. So we'll be able to fully report back when we come back at the end of April. But yeah, looking nice so far. Wetness test. That's immediate. Wow. It's nearly dry already. Gonna leave it 10 seconds. Yeah, 10 seconds, we can tell from the immediate, but that's nice and dry. So again, this is looking like it will be another one for doing multi-page notes. So yeah, I think I'm going to really look forward to playing with this. And I'm wondering, is this a result of the pens or is that Lamy ink a really dry ink and dries really fast? Again, I'll see as the month goes on. So we've had Italy, we've had the UK, we've had Japan. The next pen, well, it's this one from Germany. This is a Lamy Safari. Again, it's my first Safari and I've only had it about 3 weeks. So it's a pen I've not really played a lot with and it's one I'm looking forward to getting to know. If we take a look at the nib, so there's the nib for you. It's a black nib to match, well, it's described as a charcoal colour. You can see definitely browns in it, but it's a very dark colour. One of the things I will say with this pen, I find it's very light and as you can see here with the Safari, I'm not sure how I'm going to get on with the way that they section is shaped. It's one of the things I really want to try because, you know, you hear everybody talking about Safaris and All-Stars. I've never used one, so this is going to be an interesting experiment for this. The ink that I've chosen for this, well, it's another Lamy Crystal ink. It's called Agate or Agate. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's a beautiful grey colour. Now, when I look at this on the swatch card, it's just like looking at the grey of breeze blocks that you see in building. That's what reminds me of. So I think this is going to be a nice one. I do like greys, but I've been struggling to find a nice shade of grey because they always seem really either too light or too dark. At the moment, looking at this on this swatch card, it looks quite nice. Again, it's going to be interesting to see what it's like when it's used in a pen. So what have we got? We've got the Lamy Safari. Now this one, that nib, it's a broad. When I was ordering this, I thought, well, I'm trying to get more into the broader nibs. That's why I ordered it as a broad. The ink, Lamy Crystal, Agate. You know, that doesn't look too bad, does it? It's not overly light. It's fairly smooth. Not sure with a pen, as it might be alright. I need you to just get used to it with the shape of the section. Let's test our drying times. So, there's immediate. Not too bad. Certainly nowhere near as dry as that one. Maybe it matches the Beryl. So let's try leaving it now for 10 seconds. Well, if you look there, you'll see we've still got a little bit of wetness coming over, also on this edge here. So what I'm going to do is leave it for 30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds, as you can see, we're nice and dry now. So this pen, it's the Lamy Safari with that broad nib and Lamy Crystal Agate ink. So 2 pens left. I'm just going to reposition this paper again. Let's move it all the way up there. So now we can get both the last 2 pens in there. You may have just had a quick sneak at the top of the pen. So this next one, it's from Taiwan and it's a TWSBI Diamond 580. It's in transparent, the colour, and the nib on here is a broad nib. So as I said, I've been trying to get more into them broader nibs. I've actually had this 580 quite a while, and when I got it with an extra fine nib. And one of the beauties about the TWSBI 580, you can just buy a new nib section and it literally screws in and screws out. So that's all I did. So I ordered a broad nib section and just replaced it. So the ink I'm going to be using in this pen, well, it's by Diamine and it's Aurora Borealis. Absolutely love this colour. It's just such a gorgeous colour to look at. I would say it's a teal colour. I'm not very good at naming colours, but we'll go with teal. You know, look at that. We've got some shade in there. Not seeing any sheen to it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what this does, especially with being in this broad nib. Let's take a quick look at the nib. There we go. You know, it's a standard TWSBI nib. Nothing really special about it, nothing to write home. Let's see how it writes. So, what have we got? We've got a TWSBI Diamond 580 with that broad nib. That's really flowing out. I mean, compared to the Lamy, the lines, I would say this is a little bit wider looking to me. But again, I need to find out because the Safari is still new. So the nib may need to settle in a little bit. The ink, Diamine. Aurora Borealis. Now I can really see the green coming through on this. Again, not sure what the camera's picking up, but certainly to my eyes, this is dry and quite green. So it's less of that teal colour, less of the blue shades, but definitely, you know, if I was challenged, I would say it's a green. Let's test our drying times. So that's immediate, really wet, broad nib. And I think Diamine is generally a wettish ink. We'll leave for 10 seconds. To be honest, that doesn't look like it's changed. 30 seconds. Wow, what a big difference. I mean, there's still a tiny bit of wetness coming off it, but from 10 seconds up to 30, that's a big change. Lastly, I'll leave it for 1 minute. After a minute, yeah, that's nice and dry. So with this pen, not sure if it's one I'll be using too much for note taking. Maybe if I'm doing just a few brief notes, it'll be fine. But if I'm going to be doing more than that, I think, yeah, the drying time means doing multiple pages may be a bit of a nuisance, but I'll be able to report back at the end of the month. So what have we got? Well, it's the TWSBI Diamond 580 with a broad nib and Diamine Aurora Borealis ink. My final pen for April of 2021. I've had this pen a number of months and this is the first time I've used it. This pen comes from India and it's this. It's a fairly small pen. It's the Fountain Pen Revolution Guru. This was a really inexpensive pen. From memory, I think it was about $15, Australian dollars. It's a piston fillet, although here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's really hard to see where that piston knob is. Just take the cap off and show you the nib. So it's a fairly small nib. It's a small pen. I knew that when I bought it, but I just wanted to try out some pens from India. Now, why this hasn't been used for a while is I did buy another Fountain Pen Revolution pen. That's a bit of a mouthful. But I had issues because when I filled it up, I think the heat was affecting the ink flow and the nib was drying out really quickly. But we have had a very hot summer. So I've left it now until we're now mid-autumn, just to see if it was the heat and to see if I get any issues with this. As a piston fill, I don't know if you can see here, there is an ink window which is nice, so I can see what the ink is doing. The ink that I've chosen for this is Diamine Ancient Copper. I haven't been able to get a brown ink in for this month, so I snuck this one in. Not quite brown, not quite red. I can see why they're calling it copper. One quibble, to me, ancient copper means it's been exposed to the elements, and copper, when it oxidizes, what it causes a lovely green colour. Is it verdigris, I think it's called? So to me, when I say ancient copper, now if they said copper, yeah, I can see that. Let me put that to one side. So we have, for pen number 7, can you see how small it is? Let me just post it. We've got the Fountain Pen Revolution Guru with a medium nib. You know, I did comment about being small. I knew that when I bought it. You know, I bought it because it was small, but definitely needs to be posted. The ink is Diamine Ancient Copper. This ink looks really nice in this pen. I don't know if you can see the shading that's coming through. You know, it's definitely that top of that P, top of the C, the G. You know, it's definitely seeing different shades coming through here of the colour. Looks really nice. Wetness test. Immediate. It's fairly wet. 10 seconds. Not much of a change, is there? 30 seconds. Yeah, it's dried off quite nicely there. Last test, 1 minute. And after a minute, you know, that's another one. It's nice and dry now. So this one, this pen, Fountain Pen Revolution Guru with a medium nib and Diamine, or Diamine, not sure how to pronounce that one either, Ancient Copper. So that's it. That's looking at the pens. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to clear off the board. I'll fetch all the pens back in. We'll take one last look at the pens, then we'll wrap up the video. So here we have them, the 7 pens I'm going to be using during April of 2021. From Japan, the Pilot Custom Heritage 92 with Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue. From Italy, the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande with Diamine Saragossa C. From Japan, the Platinum 3776 Bourgogne with Lamy Beryl. From the UK, a Parker Frontier with Lamy Peridot. From Germany, the Lamy Safari with Lamy Agate. From Taiwan, a TWSBI Diamond 580 with Diamine Aurora Borealis. And from India, the Fountain Pen Revolution Guru with Diamine Ancient Copper. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What do you think about these pens and inks? What pens and inks are you going to be using this month? Please Drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Let's get to know more about pens, more about inks. Please hit that thumbs up button, give the video a like. The more people that like the video and that comment on it, well, it just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.